many anime worlds have been saved by the actions of their heroes?
Who are these enemies anyway, Luna, and what do they want?
There are times Earth could use powers like that, and Marvel can always use the help of powerful fighters that would make great Marvel heroes. If you haven't subscribed to CBR, you're making a huge mistake. Fix it today and click subscribe to get first dibs on all our new content.
And Hulk. Smash.
Goku. Come on, did you really expect anyone else? Few heroes have had as much impact on the well-being of the world as Goku has. Between Frieza, the androids, Cell, Majin Buu, and then countless other foes he's defeated, Goku is one of Earth's greatest champions. The fact that he's been killed multiple times doesn't seem to slow him down at all. Goku just finds a way to come back, or he fights from the spirit world to save the planet. When fighting a foe like Galactus, Goku could be a great asset. Let's be honest, Goku's best asset is the ability to take a huge beating. The other heroes are nowhere near as durable as he is, so letting Goku work as a distraction until a plan can be put in place would work. If he's needed afterwards, popping a senzu bean into his mouth would bring him back to full power. Then there's the possibility of the ultimate spirit bomb. Since he draws energy to generate the attack, how much faster would it go if the collected heroes of the Marvel Universe pumped their power into the spirit bomb? Goku could do a lot more than blow up Namek and Frieza. He could probably take out dimensions with one that size.
Are you all right, Alucard?
Yes. It's been a while since I've had my head cut off.
Alucard. The ultimate anti-hero, Alucard isn't exactly a good guy, but he's a powerful fighter, and luckily he's allied with the good guys. Strong, fast, and near invincible, Alucard relishes combat. He wouldn't get along well with Steve Rogers, but Deadpool might be more his style, except the latter's antics wouldn't sit well with Alucard's refined sense of sophistication. His ability to take down nearly any foe would be an asset to mankind, as long as Alucard was allowed to do what he wants, when he wants, without someone trying to command him. While it might be possible to defeat him, no one has yet figured out how. And when Alucard's body was blown into literal pieces by holy bullets, he managed to reform from all the blood laying around. The fact he came back to life after decades without feeding is further testament to his durability. And when all else fails, Alucard carries a host of demon dogs inside his body that he can unleash at will. It's like someone took every conceivable power to give a supernatural creature, put them into one body, and then laughed as the other writers tried to figure out how to beat it.
Well, we don't know a lot either. No clue about age, sex, or background. We think that he or she is American.
Matoku Kusanagi. She's the cyborg equivalent of Iron Man. While Major Kusanagi might not have the metal exoskeleton, she has multiple abilities that put her above and beyond what any normal cyborg might possess. Matoku's brain is human, so she still has the same emotions, ambitions, and drive of a normal person. She's able to understand them more easily. Her body is one of the most advanced models on the market, and this is exemplified in her incredible reflexes and abilities with a gun. Even if she's injured, as long as her brain remains intact, Matoku can simply be outfitted with a new body. Matoku can also hack into nearly any computer, and her ability to remotely control the Tachikoma or crawl in and physically pilot from within gives her an even greater edge against her enemies. The Marvel Universe is full of heroes fully capable of handling themselves with a projectile weapon, or to use their intelligence to hack into things, or to even transfer from one body to another, but Matoku can do all of these things with ease. She would be a valuable asset to the Defenders or even the Avengers, perfectly capable of handling any major threat that came her way.
You've got to be kidding me! I don't want to do anything that scary ever again!
Sailor Moon and friends. While Sailor Moon might be a capable hero all on her own, her real strength comes from working together with the rest of the Sailor Scouts. They are, for all intents and purposes, a group of humans, mostly, imbued with magical power to handle threats from outer space. They already have a group of similar counterparts in the Marvel Universe. Doctor Strange and members of the Illuminati protect Earth from magical threats that the Avengers aren't equipped to handle. The Sailor Scouts would be another variant on the same idea, fully capable of handling celestial threats. You know, mid-level bad guys. Sailor Moon versus Repeater Repulsa, anyone? The Sailor Scouts have weapons based on their transformations. Sailor Moon, for example, has a tiara she can remove and fight with. Other abilities include extended flight, teleportation, and telepathy. While the majority of Sailor Scouts are female, there is at least one male fighter that works in a more solo capacity than the Scouts themselves. While you might not think the Marvel Universe is exactly the place for a magical girl troop, let's be honest, it's not that strange in comparison to some of the heroes. For pity's sake, there was the one group of obscure heroes that included a superpowered accountant. An accountant. Vash the Stampede. Let's start with Vash's resume highlights. He's a bioengineered, nearly immortal plant with endless wells of compassion, an arm cannon that can blow a chunk out of the moon and demolish entire cities, and ridiculous healing abilities. One particular scene in the anime shows his body covered in innumerable scars. He's essentially Wolverine with a gun, not to mention he's spent the majority of his life working to protect innocent people from those that would do them harm. In fact, Vash started down his path when his brother decided humans weren't worthy and tried to wipe them all out of existence by crashing their colony ship before it even landed. Vash saved it, but has since fought to keep that malicious element under control. Vash would make a perfect hero for the Marvel Universe. He'd be right at home with all the other engineered heroes, although he wouldn't get along at all with some of the gunslingers in the Marvel Universe. The Punisher, for instance, his disregard for life would result in him being on the wrong end of Vash's gun. Even if Vash does use rubber bullets instead of the real thing, even rubber bullets would sting when fired with the precision of an expert gunslinger.
If you can, it's difficult not to try.
Edward Elric. The Fullmetal Alchemist would be another hero at home with the magical defenders of Earth. Doctor Strange would most likely welcome a companion skilled in the art of alchemy, and Edward would enjoy the ability to learn more of another world's magic, although he would probably think it a different form of alchemy. And admit it, wouldn't you love to see the look on Tony Stark's face the first time Ed transmuted his suit? Repairing all of the fancy vehicles and equipment would be a lot easier. The scene in the Avengers where the heroes have to repair the helicarrier before it crashes, a quick transmutation circle would have shortened that entire process. Ed's ability to control just about anything metal would provide him with plenty of weapons within the Marvel Universe. It also raises the question, would he be able to transmute vibranium? What about Mjolnir? Watching the combination of alchemy and Captain America would be a fight we'd want to see. Ed's automail arm would lend him a measure of protection against bullets and potentially lasers. Imagine if he transmuted his arm into a reflective radar dish. Surprise anyone who fires lasers. Either way, with an Elric helping the Avengers defend Earth, their job would get a lot easier.
I'll make you pay for that. Just kidding.
Spike Spiegel. Spike oozes cool in the same way Tony Stark does, but he lacks any sort of built-in superpower. Instead, he's just a bounty hunter that likes his guns, his ship, and his food. He'd be a perfect Marvel hero in the same power scales of Daredevil or Luke Cage. Spike is a skilled martial artist, and his skills as a pilot and gunslinger set him apart from a lot of the competition. That said, he is also the quintessential anti-hero. He'd be more at home as the main character in one of Steve Rogers' 1940s hard-boiled detective novels than in saving a damsel in distress. Everything Spike does, he does for himself. He has little loyalty to anyone else, and teamwork isn't exactly his strong suit. The few people Spike calls friends are hard-won, and gaining his loyalty is a Herculean feat. Some of the more noble members of the Marvel Universe would take offense to him, but with enough time, Spike could win them over. He's charming like that. Just make sure he's well-fed. Spike gets cranky when he isn't. Hey, while you're at it, it's probably a good idea to keep women, dogs, and children away from his ship. Samurai Flamenco. Samurai Flamenco is about someone who wants to be a superhero but has no superpowers. He starts off taking down petty criminals before moving on to real, actual monsters. In the process, Samurai Flamenco teams up with several others to help him along the way, one of which is a police officer. Oh, and he's also a male model in real life. Sure, Samurai Flamenco as a story might be a bit silly, but it's the animation that brings to the table a fantasy so many of us have had before, the desire to be a hero. He's not overly strong, but the silliness and light-hearted nature of the character would make him perfect for certain segments of the Marvel Universe. Pairing him up with Squirrel Girl, for instance, could make for an interesting crossover and endless amusement. That's not to say Samurai Flamenco doesn't get dark. The series dives into heavy subjects that aren't often touched on by such lighthearted shows, and they're addressed in such a way that the gravity of the situation isn't diminished. This makes it even more suited for Marvel, as many of the comics also touch on issues like PTSD, torture, and other dark topics. Gundam. There are so many different Gundam canons that you can take your pick. We like to imagine the Gundam wing pilots, but nearly any of them could fit the bill. Giant mecha and their pilots that arrive in times of trouble? Yeah, sign me up. That's a perfect superhero recipe. So many of the foes that Marvel heroes fight have been defeated because of giant robots that it's easy to see where Gundam pilots could fit right in. It would also open the door for a story set around infighting between the Gundams and Marvel heroes. Just imagine Hulkbuster versus Wing Zero. That's a fight we'd pay very good money to see, wouldn't you? There's enough variety in the types of Gundams to keep things interesting too. The way I see it, there could be two approaches. Take all the heroes from the main series and form a close-knit strike team for handling extraterrestrial invasion forces, or form an army of all the disposable Gundam units and overwhelm the enemy with sheer numbers, otherwise known as the Chitauri method. Both would be a lot of fun to see, but watching the 5 main units from Gundam Wing duke it out against some of the Chitauri Leviathans would make for great TV.
Mrs. Stark, wait! I'm not done, I'm not... Okay, I'm not.
Saitama. Could this spot have belonged to anyone else? Saitama, or One Punch Man as he's called, is literally the definition of a hero. He works for the Hero Association after all. He's not driven by justice or some need for revenge. He's driven by fun. All he wants to do is find an opponent strong enough to stand up to him in a fight. But so far, he's able to defeat everyone in a single punch. He's practically immune to any attack someone could throw at him. Despite being a low-ranked hero, Saitama is capable of handling any situation. The only enema Saitama can't defeat is male pattern baldness. The massive amounts of testosterone released by his intense training have rendered him bald enough to deflect lasers from his head. Sure, the Marvel heroes you know and love might look at him like he's crazy until Saitama knocks Dormammu right back into another dimension with nothing but his fist, then gets annoyed because he can't find anyone strong enough to fight him. The series would eventually end with Saitama following the one above all in a never-ending battle that results in the two finding Brotherhood. After all, they could actually keep the other entertained in a fight. While it is highly unlikely the world of anime and the world of Marvel will ever overlap, we can still dream. Make sure to comment and let us know what your favorite entry on this list was, and toss any ideas your way for characters we might have forgotten. Which hero would you like to most see in Marvel? Do you think Goku could take on the Hulk and win? Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our latest content, and go check out some of our other videos.